So a lot of men, when you sit down with them and they have that sense, they know they're created for something more. They have that there's this discontent, and you go, a lot of times in that moment, people say, well, what do you want to do? What do you want to do with your life? What's your 10-year plan? What's your 20-year plan? What's your, what do you want to be when you grow up? And that paralyzes a lot of people, that blank piece of paper. And that's what I call the vision wall. There's men that think they have to know exactly where they're headed before they head the first step, or they have to know exactly where it's going to be in 15 years before they take the first step. And so what I like to do is go, no. What would it look like for us to climb a gold ladder together? And I'll tell you what I mean. So most people, when they have a big goal, say I want to have a really great family. I want to make $1 million in my business. I want to get in shape, CrossFit. I want to run a marathon, whatever. They have this 12-foot ladder, and there's only 2 rungs. There's the rung at the top that says write a book or start a business. And there's the rung at the bottom, which is the name of the goal. And then there's nothing in between. So they stand at the bottom and go, to do this, I have to jump 12 feet in the air, which is 2 feet higher than a basketball rim, grab it and pull myself up. And my version of that is, what if we put rungs every 6 inches on that ladder? Sure. What if there were 50 rungs? You think you could climb to the top? Like, you think you could get there? And they go, yeah, of course. And I say, okay, well, let's figure those out together. So an example of that would be, I realized I wanted stronger friendships. I wanted like that, but that's too fuzzy. I can't measure that. I can't make that a goal. So I figured out, how do I turn that into a goal? So I decided I'm going to encourage one other man I know every day for a month. I'm going to think of 30 people, and for a solid month, all I did was text. It wasn't like I wrote long letters. I didn't make it complicated. I would text another guy and go, hey, I was just thinking about somebody who's brave. And like, every time I think of bravery, you're the person that comes to mind. Like, it's so fun to get to see you do your life.
Wow.
And there wasn't a single man that said, I wish you hadn't told me that today. I wish you hadn't said that. 90% of them said, you don't know how much I needed that today. You don't know how much I needed that this week. And so now I took something fuzzy, be a better friend, and made it actionable and tactical. And then I could do it. And then like, once you get these little kind of steps, you want more of it. You want more momentum. And so you climb the ladder and you just keep doing it. That's how you get around the vision wall.
So is that what you meant? It's a wall, but in your book, you said the vision wall is a gateway. So it's a wall, but if you want to get to where you want to be, it's a gateway. Then you said this, it stands between you and your potential. It is only one rule to fulfill your potential. You must first create a detailed, compelling, long-reaching vision for your life. When I read that, Jon, I thought, oh, that's a book that's coming out in 2 years. That'd be a great book. The Vision Wall. And I'll write the foreword for you and get full credit for that idea. But I thought that's important, right? Because it's more than just, those little rungs on the ladder. Those really are detailed, compelling, long-reaching types of rungs to get you up and over, correct?
Exactly. And part of it is like, so I talk about the 3 different zones that people spend time in, because everyone listening to this podcast is a high performer. And I know that because low performers don't listen to the content like this. They don't even know the category exists on Spotify.
Exactly.
So congratulations. If you're listening to this, you're already a high performer. The challenge is being a high performer doesn't automatically make you a high achiever. We all know people who are capable of sporadic bursts of performance, but don't turn it into long-term sustainable achievement.
Oh, that's good.
And the reason why is that high performers bounce between 3 zones. The comfort zone, we all know that one. It's talked about a ton. The chaos zone, which is on the opposite end. And then the middle is the potential zone. So we over talk about the comfort zone, but as men, we especially don't talk enough about the chaos zone. The chaos zone is where you try to do everything all at once. So you ricochet. So you feel stuck. And maybe in December, you're like, I feel stuck. I'm going to do some New Year's resolutions. I'm going to get in shape. I'm going to pay off my debt. I'm going to date my wife. I'm going to be better than my kids. I'm going to do an Ironman. I'm doing it all this weekend.
Yeah.
And you ricochet into the chaos zone and you don't accomplish any of it because it's chaotic and it's unreasonable. And that's why we have the phrase yo-yo diet in our country. Because people yo-yo back and forth. And in the middle is the potential zone, the Goldilocks zone, not too hot, not too cold, not too much, not too little. It's this perfect spot for you to say, okay, I'm doing sustainable action over time and building the life I want. Now, when it comes to having that vision, nobody leaves their comfort zone just because. There's not a single man that's ever woken up and said, today I'm just going to have discipline. Today I'll have grit today for no reason. Just It's time to have grit. No, what happens is you get a desire that's better than your comfort zone. You see a little glimpse of something that makes you leave you shouldn't want to leave your comfort zone. It's comfortable.
Yep.
Like, you know the rules, it's easy. But what happens is you get this glimpse of something outside the comfort zone that's worth leaving it for,
yep.
worth being brave for, worth turning the television off for, worth sacrificing for. That's how you get out of the comfort zone. When you've got that little bit of glimpse of, oh wait, I think I could do something different. I think I could be something different. I'm going to try.
Okay. I like how you clarified that high performers bounce between 3 zones, because when I was reading this, I thought there's also a 4th zone I want to add, and it would be the Christ zone. It's this zone that goes above and beyond. It looks into eternity, but that wouldn't fit in the context of high performers bounce between these zones. So I do appreciate that.
No, but for me, like, for me, the potential zone, is Christ. Like, you talked about Romans was a verse that guides you for this. Like, I love where the rich landowner gives the talents out. And
yeah.
There's 5 and there's 2 and there's 1.
Just read it this morning.
I'm a double the talents guy. Like,
yep.
That's whether it's 5 or 2, that's what I want to do. And when you read that passage, there's a party after, there's a celebration. Yeah. So a lot of my message to men is, let's get a shovel. Like, you buried some of your talents. Let's get a shovel. Let's dig those up. What would that look like? How do we lean into that? So to me, that's how I think about potential in regards to the gifts God's given you. Is like, hey, and you'll never see in the Bible where God says, play it safe. I don't think I can do that. Like, play it safer. I don't think I can do that. And so that's where I go, like, oh yeah, like, when you tap into that, there's no end to what you can accomplish.